Welcome back to Wealth Theory. I'm your host, and if you've recently opened your banking app, looked at a direct deposit, and felt a simultaneous rush of absolute power and total confusion, this episode is specifically for you. Today, we are diving deep into the ultimate survival guide for your 20s and 30s, how to navigate early career money, handle those first real paychecks, and, most importantly, defeat the silent killer of wealth creation, lifestyle creep. Look, no one really prepares you for the transition from student broke to corporate paid. One day you're splitting a $12 pizza 3 ways, living off instant ramen, and scouring group chats for free food on campus. The next day, you're sitting in an onboarding meeting signing up for a 401k match, receiving a paycheck that has more digits than your entire net worth was 6 months ago, and suddenly believing you're the kind of person who buys $8 artisanal oat milk lattes every single morning. It feels amazing. You earned it. You worked through late-night study sessions, endless job applications, and brutal interviews. But here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody mentions in HR. Earning more money will not fix your finances if your lifestyle automatically expands to consume it. By the end of this episode, you're going to have an exact playbook to build wealth in your 20s and 30s without living like a hermit. We're talking automated systems, compound growth, guilt-free spending, and how to enjoy your youth while securing your financial freedom. So grab a notebook, plug in your headphones, and let's get into the theory. Let's start at ground zero, the first big paycheck. When that first big direct deposit hits your checking account, your brain goes through a very specific chemical reaction. Psychologists call it the wealth effect. For the first time in your life, you have margin. You pay rent, you pay your minimum student loan or credit card bill, and wait. There's still $1,500 sitting there. Your brain immediately fires off a signal: we are rich. We have made it. So, what happens next? The subtle upgrades begin. You don't go out and buy a super yacht. That's not how lifestyle creep works. It's far more sinister because it happens in tiny, invisible increments. You switch from standard groceries to organic specialty markets. You decide that living with roommates is beneath your new job title, so you rent a solo apartment that takes up 45% of your take-home pay. You start ordering DoorDash 3 nights a week because you're too tired from work. You buy the premium gym membership, sign up for 4 streaming services, upgrade your wardrobe to business professional, and stop looking at the prices on restaurant menus. Fast forward 12 months. You get a performance review and a $10,000 raise. You think, finally, now I'll save money. But 12 months after that, your savings account is still sitting at the exact same balance it was when you were making $20,000 less. Where did the money go? It vanished into the void of adjusted standards. This is Parkinson's law applied to personal finance. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. In finance, expenses expand to equal income. If you make $45,000, you manage to survive on $45,000. If you make $90,000 somehow, miraculously, you need all $90,000 just to maintain your baseline existence. The core danger of lifestyle creep isn't just that you're spending money. It's that it raises your hedonic baseline. The fancy coffee, the luxury apartment, the ride shares, they stop feeling like special treats and start feeling like fundamental human rights. Once an upgrade becomes a necessity, you lose your flexibility. You chain yourself to your job because you now need that high salary just to pay for the expensive life you built around it. That isn't wealth. That's an expensive golden cage. So how do we break this cycle? How do you take advantage of your 20s and 30s, which are, mathematically, the most powerful decades of your financial life, without hating your day-to-day existence? You build a system. You don't rely on willpower. Willpower is exhausted by 5 p.m. on a Tuesday after a grueling meeting. Systems run on autopilot 24/7. Here is the 4-part wealth theory framework for your early career. Rule number 1: pay yourself first, automate everything. If you wait until the end of the month to save whatever is left over, I can tell you right now how much you will save: 0. There will never be anything left over. The moment your paycheck hits your bank account on payday, automated transfers should immediately pull money out before you even have a chance to look at it. Here is the exact flow. 401k or workplace retirement, deducted directly from your paycheck pre-tax. Automated transfer to high-yield savings, emergency fund triggered on payday. Automated transfer to investment accounts, Roth IRA or brokerage triggered on payday. Bills and fixed expenses, paid automatically. Whatever remains in your primary checking account after those automated transfers? That is your guilt-free spending money. You can blow every single dollar of it on sneakers, trips, dinners out, or concert tickets, and you will never feel a shred of guilt because your future is already paid for. Rule number 2. The math of your 20s versus your 30s, the time value of money. Let me give you a quick math lesson that will completely change how you view your 20s. Imagine two people, person A and person B. Person A starts investing $300 a month at age 22. They do this for just 10 years, until age 32, investing a total of $36,000. At age 32, they stop adding a single penny and just let that money sit in an index fund averaging an 8% annual return until they retire at age 65. Person B waits. They enjoy their 20s, don't save anything, and start investing at age 32. They invest that same $300 a month, but they do it every single month for 33 straight years until age 65. They invest a total of $118,800 out of their own pocket. Who ends up with more money at age 65? It's person A. Person A, who only invested $36,000 in their 20s and then stopped, retires with approximately $1.8 million. Person B, who invested nearly $120,000 out of pocket over 3 decades, retires with approximately $540,000. Read that again. Person A put in a third of the money, stopped early, and ended up with more than triple the wealth. That is the power of compound interest. A single dollar invested in your early 20s is worth $10, $15, or even $20 invested in your late 40s. Every year you delay starting isn't just costing you the money you didn't save, it's costing you the exponential growth of that money over decades. Rule number 3. The baseline emergency cushion. Before you go all in on aggressive investing, you need an emergency fund. When you're young, emergencies don't look like a leaky roof on a house you don't own yet. They look like a surprise layoff, an unexpected medical bill, a last-minute flight for a family emergency, or a sudden job transition. You need 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account, HYSA. Notice I said essential living expenses, not your total current spending. Just enough to cover rent, utilities, basic groceries, and minimum debt payments if your income suddenly drops to zero. Keep this money completely separate from your day-to-day spending account. It's not a vacation fund. It's not for a new car. It is peace of mind insurance that keeps you from going into credit card debt when life throws a curveball. Rule number 4, the 50/30/20 rule, adjusted for reality. A lot of financial advisors parrot the classic 50/30/20 rule. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings and debt payoff. When you're starting out in a high cost of living city on an entry-level salary, 50% for needs might feel completely unrealistic. Rent alone might eat 40% of your income. That's fine. Adapt the model. If your needs are at 60%, shrink your wants to 20% so you can keep your savings/investing at 20%. The exact ratio matters less than establishing the habit of keeping your savings rate protected. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. I am not telling you to live on rice and beans. I am not telling you to skip every social outing, refuse to travel, or feel guilty about buying a latte. Life is meant to be lived right now, not just when you're 65 with a knee replacement. The key to beating lifestyle creep isn't extreme frugalism, it's conscious spending. Conscious spending means deciding what actually brings you deep joy, spending ruthlessly on those specific things, and aggressively cutting costs on everything else you don't truly care about. The reverse lifestyle creep strategy. When you get a raise or a bonus, let's say you get a $5,000 annual bump after your first review, what do most people do? They upgrade their entire life by $5,000. Instead, use the 50% rule for income increases. Whenever you get a raise, bonus, or tax refund, take 50% of that extra money and automatically redirect it toward your investments or debt payoff. Take the remaining 50% and spend it on whatever you want. Upgrade your lifestyle guilt-free. If you get a $500 a month raise, put $250 immediately into your investment account, and keep $250 for fun. Your savings rate goes up, your wealth building speeds up, and your lifestyle improves. You win on both fronts, and you permanently prevent lifestyle creep from suffocating your future. The 24-hour rule and cost per use matrix. Impulse buying is the single biggest leak in early career budgets. Amazon Prime and Apple Pay have made spending money so frictionless that your brain doesn't even register the transaction until the credit card statement arrives. To combat this, implement 2 operational rules. The 24-hour rule for non-essentials. Anything over $100 that isn't an immediate necessity requires a 24-hour waiting period before purchase. Put it in your online shopping cart, close the tab, and walk away. 80% of the time, by the next morning, the dopamine spike has faded and you'll realize you didn't actually want or need it. Cost per use thinking. Stop evaluating purchases based solely on their upfront sticker price. Evaluate them based on their utility. A $200 pair of high-quality boots you wear 150 days a year costs you $1.33 per use. That's a great purchase. A $60 trendy fast fashion shirt you wear twice before it shrinks in the wash costs you $30 per use. That's a terrible purchase. Invest in things that directly touch your daily life: a comfortable mattress, reliable shoes, tools that make your job easier, health and high-quality food. Cut ruthlessly on things you buy purely for status, convenience, or out of boredom. We need to have an honest conversation about the mental side of money in your 20s and 30s, because this is where most people get derailed. We live in an age of hyper-curated social media exposure. Every time you log onto Instagram, LinkedIn, or TikTok, you are bombarded with images of people your age. Buying modern homes with floor-to-ceiling windows. Flying first class to Bali. Driving brand new luxury EVs. Celebrating. Exiting their startup. Or landing VP titles at 27. It triggers an immense psychological panic. I am falling behind. Here is the secret you need to internalize. A vast amount of consumer lifestyle in your 20s and 30s is funded by debt and zero net worth. You cannot see someone's balance sheet from an Instagram photo. You see the lease on the BMW. You don't see the $40,000 in high-interest credit card debt behind it. You see the luxury vacation. You don't see the $0 retirement account balance. True wealth is invisible. Wealth is the money you haven't spent. It's the index fund shares accumulating in your portfolio. It's the emergency fund sitting quietly in the bank giving you the freedom to quit a toxic job, pivot careers, or start a business without fearing starvation. Spending money to look rich is the fastest way to stay poor. When you buy status symbols to impress people you don't even like, you are trading your long-term independence for short-term validation. Real freedom is waking up on a Monday morning knowing that you control your time because your assets work harder than you do. Let's bring this all together into an actionable, step-by-step checklist you can execute starting today. If you are listening to this on your commute, on a run, or sitting at your desk, here is your exact roadmap. Step 1. Audit your baseline. Look at your last 90 days of bank statements. Don't judge yourself, just look at the numbers. Where is your money actually going? Identify the stealth leaks, subscriptions you don't use, excessive delivery fees, or impulse shopping, and trim them down. Step 2. Grab your employer match immediately. If your employer offers a 401k match, say, matching up to 4% or 6% of your salary, that is a 100% instant return on your money. It is literally part of your compensation package. Leaving that match on the table is the exact same thing as telling your boss, "No thanks, you can keep part of my paycheck." Always contribute enough to get the full match before doing anything else. Step 3. Build your $2,000 starter emergency fund. Before paying down low-interest debt or investing aggressively, get a small cash buffer in place so you never have to swipe a credit card for a surprise car repair or doctor's visit. Step 4. Automate your wealth building. Set up automatic transfers on payday. Pay yourself first. Priority A. Workplace match. Priority B. High-yield savings account until your emergency fund is full. Priority C. Roth IRA or broad market index funds, like an S&P 500 or total world stock market fund. Step 5. Cap your major fixed costs. Housing and transportation are the two expenses that will make or break your finances. Keep your rent or mortgage below 30% of your take-home pay whenever possible. Avoid taking on a massive auto loan early in your career just to drive something shiny. Drive a reliable, paid-off car for as long as humanly possible and invest the difference. Step 6. Focus on the income side of the equation. Saving money is critical, but frugality has a floor. You can only cut your expenses down to zero. Income has no ceiling. In your 20s and 30s, your greatest financial asset is your earning potential. Invest in skills, certifications, networks, and career moves that increase your primary income. A $15,000 bump in your annual salary, if managed properly through the 50% rule, will accelerate your path to financial freedom far faster than cutting out daily coffees ever will. Your 20s and 30s are an incredible chapter. You have energy, options, and, most importantly, time. Do not let the pressure to look successful today rob you of the reality of being wealthy tomorrow. Avoid the traps, automate your baseline, spend consciously on what actually brings you happiness, and let compound interest do the heavy lifting in the background while you build your life. You don't need a degree in finance to master your money. You just need a system, a little bit of discipline, and the courage to stop comparing your Chapter 2 to someone else's, Chapter 20. That is all for today's episode of Wealth Theory. If you found value in this episode, do me a quick favor, share it with a friend who just got their first big job or needs a quick reset on their finances. Hit that subscribe button, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it helps the show immensely. Until next time, keep building, keep automating, and master the theory. I'm your host, signing off. Take care.